Good morning, everyone. My name is Melanie, and welcome back to A Slice of Heaven Homestead. Well, it's that time of year again, seed starting time. I have all the things here that I need to start my seeds. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is prepare my trays. Now these trays are straight from the dollar store. They were $1 each, obviously. I looked online and the cheapest garden trays that I could find were like $5 to $10 each. So this is a great deal. All I need to do is to drill holes in the bottom of this for some good drainage. So I'm just going to be working on this spare piece of plywood that I have here. It's just a junk piece. It's going to have drill hole marks and stuff in it. That's okay. Now these cheaper plastic items from the dollar store, sometimes the plastic will crack, sometimes it won't, but it has less of a chance of cracking if it's right up against a really solid item when you're drilling. Alright, with those holes all drilled, it's time to start planting. Alright, I have a few different methods that I'm going to be using today. These big white ones are just going to be completely filled with dirt, and this is what I am going to start my my onion starters, my onion bulbs, and also the garlic. So I'm just going to use a full tray of dirt for that. Now with these colorful trays, I am going to be using some of these black plastic starter trays. And then I also have these fabric baggies. And this year is the first time that I have used these fabric bags, these little grow bags. The easiest way to fill them is to turn them inside out. And once you fill that with dirt, it has an easier time of standing up. Now you can start your seeds in soil that is potting soil from the store. That's good stuff to use. I didn't have any of that stuff, so what I am using is some topsoil. I have some topsoil that's really barky and some that's a little bit more fine. I'm using the stuff that is as fine as I can get it, and then taking out any of the big chunks, just because I don't want that to hinder my seedlings being able to pop out of that soil and start growing. But then I am also using some peat moss. I'm just going to leave that upside down. You'll have to read it upside down. Peat moss is great for seed starting. It holds on to moisture in the soil. It also helps to break up that soil, make it nice and fluffy so that your little seedlings have an easier time of rooting and sprouting up above that soil layer. As you're filling up your seed trays and your little grow pots, you want to be tamping that dirt down just a little bit. You don't want it rock hard, you just want it to be firm. Because once you start watering this, all that dirt's going to fill in all that air space that's in there right now. And you're going to have decreased soil because it's going to compress. Now before you start planting, you want to make sure to give your trays a good drink. Now remember, dry soil does not like to soak up water, so you might have to soak it a few times. And let the water sink in and soak it again. Now I'm not gonna lie, as I was filling up my seed trays, I found that these black plastic ones took up way less time than the fabric bags. So now my take on it is I'm probably not gonna use the fabric bags again. But those fabric bags would be very useful if you plan on selling your seedlings, so like at a farmer's market or whatnot, because they can be in individual little cells that you can sell off. I'm not planning on doing any of that, so in order to save myself time, I am just going to be mostly using these black plastic ones, and like I say, I'll probably just continue doing this this year, next year, and so on, and hopefully I'll be able to reuse these ones. These were the cheapest ones that I could find that were of a bigger size on Amazon. So they are fairly flimsy, but if I take care of them, hopefully I'll be able to reuse them. Okay, so now for the seeds. I've got a ton of seeds, and I spent many nights going over all the different types of plants that I wanted, thinking about, you know, what I want to can, and I love canning food. And since this is our first year here on this homestead, we moved from Japan just a few months ago, and so I have a very empty pantry. I want to be able to fill that when harvest comes. So I'm doing lots of things like green beans and tomatoes and, you know, other things that I will have an easy time of canning. I have also planned it all out. I've got plans for 6 grow boxes, raised garden beds that are 8 feet by 4 feet, and then some other planting pots. And I've gone through and I've looked at the companion planting chart and tried to map out everything as according to, you know, as I am going to grow it in the garden. So I think I know how many plants I need, but I'm gonna go ahead and plant just a few extra just in case there's not enough germination or, you know, plants die off. Things happen. So I'm gonna plant more than I need and hopefully end up with just the right amount. Now I have also categorized them into, so So the different garden beds, yes, but also things that I have to direct sow, like these carrots and these daikon radishes. These I have to direct sow. I can't start them in seed trays. Now, for the sake of time, I am not going to show you all of the little things that I am going to plant because I have so many of them. However, I do want to show you some things. Oh, let's see. We'll go ahead and pick some pepper seeds. Now, on the back of your seed packets, it will say planting depth. This one is 1/4 of an inch. You want to pay attention to the planting depth because not all seeds are the same. Now, each seed has a limited amount of potential energy. That means when you plant the seed, it's only got a certain amount of energy to expel before it needs to collect sunlight and get nutrients and energy from photosynthesis. If you plant those seeds too deeply in that soil, it's not going to have enough energy to sprout up above the soil and start growing. And those seeds will end up rotting. So make sure you pay attention to the back of your seed packet and only plant them as deep as it tells you. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am absolutely terrible with labeling my plants. I will plant something, and as time goes on, I have no idea what I planted and where. So I have lots of labels that hopefully I'll be able to reuse. I always try and get the things that I think I will be able to reuse over and over again. That way it is worth the cost. Alright, this is my greenhouse. It is pretty much one of the cheapest greenhouses that you can buy. And as such, I've had to kind of reinforce it a little bit. These really cheap greenhouses will just come right apart if there's any kind of wind. So I have tried to stake this down in the ground as much as I can, and on each of these tray racks I have put 2 zip ties, one in the front and one in the back. Now, in a windstorm, this bounces around quite a bit, and these trays will pop right off there and I will lose all of my seedlings. So I wanted to make sure to try and avoid that. And so far, it's been pretty good. Now, some of these seedlings I planted last week and they're already starting to come up, and some I just planted. Garlic, onions, got a ton of things, but a lot of the cooler weather things are starting to pop up, like these red and golden cabbage. Now we are well on our way to a great garden and a great growing season. Guys, thank you for joining me today. Spread a little kindness and encourage one another. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, we hope you find your slice of heaven too.